Find the Voice podcast. You can follow me at Voice Gigs on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Um, I keep wanting to say Amazon. Anchor.fm/voice gigs. So, hey, guess what? I am talking about communicating limitations, your own limitations and expectations. So, where do I start? Okay, let me tell you what's supposed to happen in this episode. It's episode 27. Um, it's part 4 of my Establish Self Protocol series. Um, and I I'm going to explain the definition of communicate as well as the definitions of the words limitation and expectation. Also, I am going to tell you why it is so important to communicate your limitations and expectations. And lastly, well, I don't know in what order I'm going to go, but and lastly, I'm going to um, help you process all of this, and and we're gonna work on getting into the habit of communicating these limitations and expectations. So, I don't know where to start. Okay, so I'm gonna continue to stress the word own. So, I'm using the term own, and I'm telling you this it, probably in a different way every episode, but I'm using the word own because I need you to know without a doubt that establishing self protocol is all about you. Self. Self. It is so interesting how we live in a world that is always saying self care, self care, self care, self love, self this, self that. But then in action, people are so people are just not signing up for yourself. Like if I start walking around saying, "Okay, look, these are my values, these are my standards, these are my boundaries, these are my limitations, these are my expectations." And they don't agree with them, people like to try to will try to cancel you, or make you feel like you're just not valid, like your boundaries and standards are not valid. But listen here, um, they are. Okay, I just want you to know you are valid. Yourself is extremely important, and it is very important to have a protocol about yourself, to know the way to know 100% sure how you want to be treated, not only by others but also by yourself. And you have to treat yourself in this manner. You have to follow this self protocol that you have created if you want anyone else to follow the self protocol as well. And this is how you know who is for you and who is not, because anybody who is not willing to respect and follow your self protocol can be cut. I don't care if they're your parents. I don't care if they're your kids. As long as you don't need them for like serious vital stuff, you can cut them off. They can be cut. Like, I'm just in so many situations now, or I not now, but I've been in these constant cycles of learning that people care for you. They care for the idea of you, but then they start to get to know you, and they start to get to know what your limits and expectations may be, or they see you setting boundaries for yourself and so on and so forth. And then they start to like, wait, no, I didn't know. They start to get to know the real you, and it's amazing how many people like love my attitude, and they love how feisty I am, right? until they put me in a situation where I have to be feisty. And then it's like, oh, yeah, we're good on her. But look, I need you to know that um, when you, this is the why, this is why. When you communicate your own limitations and expectations, it alleviates stress. It sounds like a stressful thing to do, but it's very simple, a very simple little hump that as soon as you get over it, the stress is relieved. Whether it is your stress or the stress of those around you. And the reason I say this is because you never know. You know, we all, people love to assume that they know other people, and that's what I'm saying when I say people like the idea of me when they think they know me, but then they really get to know me, then they're like, oh, she's a bit too much. You People think they know you, but when you communicate your limitations and expectations, it it gives you like it gives you like an off top, um it like just set it settles the debate off top of whether you are able to be dealt with or not. Like, and you really should not be concerned because you come into this world alone, and when you die, you're gonna die alone. Maybe you're gonna die in a with a group of people, but when you get lowered into the ground or pushed through the cremation process, you are by yourself. Okay, maybe you have a twin, you were born together, but at that very second when you came out, you came out by yourself. Okay, you were the only baby being brought out or pulled out or whatever. It was you by yourself. So when you come into this world, you're by yourself, and when you die, you're by yourself. So you should never, ever be concerned about someone else's place in your life, no matter how much value they bring. Because if they do not care about you and they do not respect your limitations and your expectations, then they need to go. Point blank, period. So, there are some situations where you do feel like, well, this person has such leverage in my life, that I don't want to jeopardize what they bring. Okay, then you're gonna have to just deal with it. That's the case. If that's the case, then this video is not for you. Um, you just go ahead and deal with the onslaught and disrespect. The onslaught of disrespect. I don't know if I said that right correctly, but but I don't know what else to say. Like, if it's that type of situation, then like I said in the last video, I've been in places where I felt like I was in a good situation and I didn't want to voice, I didn't want to draw boundaries because I thought that if the person, the owner of the house, didn't like my boundaries, they could just be like, well, you can go, right? Um, and I don't like being in that type of situation, and I hope that I never put myself in that situation again. But definitely, if you come into a situation, I'm talking about at the beginning of a situation, a job, a roommate situation, a relationship, a friendship, a business partnership, you start dating. These are like some first date type things. And let me just be clear, because for me personally, I feel like the best way to learn what your limitations and expectations are to live, are to try new things, are to meet new people, because you never know. There are some things that people have going on that they've been accustomed to their whole life that you would never ever even hear of You know what I mean? And sometimes you just got to kind of get into it to realize that's not for me. I remember it, like in my early 20s, I would have this reoccurring thought like if I ate something I didn't like, or if I went somewhere I didn't like, or if I was around somebody I didn't like, I would always have this thought at the like towards the end of the experience, like note to self, you don't like this. You know, I used to do that all the time, and they definitely early 20s because I can't remember the last time I did it, but I would eat something and be like, you do not like this. Please remember that you do not like this. And I don't remember any of it. I can't even give you an example. I wish I would have wrote these things down. But we're gonna get into that. Um, so let me just before I get any further, I want to talk about every once in a while I gotta check and make sure everything's recording. I want to get into the definition of communicate because some people believe, and I have been guilty of this. Some people do truly believe that the attempt to communicate is communication. And I am here to tell you that just attempting to communicate is not correct. Okay, that it does not add up to communication. So attempting to communicate, like being passive aggressive, doing things like leaving notes or doing um what is it, what do we call it? Like sub sub you know what I mean, subliminal, like when you're on social media and you post something subliminally, it's passive aggressive. And there's no such thing as communication if it's passive aggressive. So um aggressive being that you're very aggressive about letting people know how you want to be treated and what you want and this and that, but you are passive because you do it in passing. You do it in, I hope they see this. I hope they hear this. And when you communicate, you're successful. Let me read what Siri told me. Siri says, communicate, verb. 1. Share or exchange information. Okay? So that it's being exchanged, right? It's being exchanged. Okay. And then there's some little bullet points here. One says impart or pass on. It goes from me, exchange. It goes from me to you. Um, convey or transmit from me to you. Um, communicate of two people is to be able to share and understand each other's thoughts and feelings. To share and understand. So not only are you sharing, because you can just share it with anybody, but when they understand, and this is when I skip this one specifically so that I can read it last. Succeed in conveying one's ideas or in evoking understanding in others. Um, okay, that's it. That's it. But to succeed in exchanging this information. So when you communicate something, and this is why um, your employers, when they tell you something, they give you like something written, like an email or something, they want a confirmation because they want to make sure that they were successful in exchanging this information. So I used to get really irritated when I was a lead therapist at Massage Green because you put so much effort into making sure that the workplace um, is satisfactory, right? And you try to make sure that everybody understands what they should be doing and how they should be going about doing certain things. And so, you send an email and then like one person confirms that they got the information. And it's like, so nobody's reading emails. So we're just gonna go along doing our own thing. It's a crazy thought process because you don't want to be like you don't want to be looked at as the management person who's like always cracking the whip, But when you have people who just do not communicate well, it kind of sucks, and it makes it almost makes things move slower, and it almost makes you think that maybe I shouldn't care. But the minute that you stop caring, then you are this lackadaisical manager, and it's like, what is that called? A catch 22. It's like you can't win for losing. But that is why your employer wants to know that you understand what they're talking about, because they want to know that their communication is actually communicated, that it's successful. I tried to say success and exchange all together, but whatever. Successful exchange of information. Um, so so when I say communicate your limitations and expectations, I mean you successfully get people to understand what your limitations and expectations are. And that's hard because you're dealing with human beings. And like I said, some people just already think that they know you. Some people just already think that they have the answer. I can't stand it when somebody asks me a question and then they don't believe my answer. Or they believe that they have a better answer for the question that they asked me. And it's just like, stop asking me questions. Like, I, 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 I don't have a problem explaining myself like here. I like this. I can explain myself to my own, because I'm looking at myself, right? I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at this little camera, and I know that over the next maybe 5 years, a million people could possibly see this video. I get it. Um, but it doesn't bother me that I'm explaining. I don't mind explaining myself. When I do, what bothers me when it comes to explaining myself is, like I said, when I know that this person who's asking for an explanation really doesn't care what I'm talking about, but is only asking me a question so that they can have um, the opportunity to speak again. If that makes sense, because they're tired of talking to themselves, so now they come to me and they ask me this stupid ass question, um, and before I can get a full thought out, they're already have interrupted me and started talking again. And it's just like, if you wanted to hear yourself talk, why don't you just go stand in the mirror? Why don't you just get yourself a YouTube channel? It's not hard. It's easy. Get a Gmail. If you already have a Gmail, go to YouTube, sign in, create a public playlist. Boom, you have a YouTube channel. It's easy. It's so easy. I'm not about to sit here and explain it anymore. Get yourself a YouTube channel and just talk to your phone all day. Look at your phone, selfie cam, and just talk. Okay? If you love to hear yourself talk that much. Me, I'm one of those people who really just don't usually talk. I know that I talk a lot. I know that if I have something I want to talk about, I will talk, and I can talk a lot. But I usually don't. Like, I can be quiet all day and have nothing to say. I can see a whole bunch of stuff go on all day long and not say anything. I can watch you do some stupid stuff in front of me, and I can just not say anything. Like, I'm good. I'm just good. I'm good on it. Like, I will let you. I can let you go play hopscotch on the freeway, and I will not ask you if you're sure. I you look like you know what you're doing. That's just how I am. Some people don't like that, but I don't know. Like I feel like stupid is a choice, you know. And if you're willing to make that choice, I'm willing to let you. I do stupid stuff too, and I in some cases, if I come to you and I'm asking you for some type of advice, 9 times out of 10, I want you to tell me I'm doing something stupid. Because if I'm not asking you for advice, I don't want it. Anyways, so let's move on to limitation. The definition of limitation. So let me just read what Siri says, and then I'll get to um, how I feel about it. So, noun, a limiting rule or circumstance, a restriction, a condition of limited ability, a defect or failing. The action of limiting something. Um, in law, a legally specified period beyond which an action may be defeated or a property right is not to continue, um, like a statute of limitations. So, um, the word that I actually want to focus on is where did it go? Restriction. Restriction. And when I hear every time I hear a restriction, I think of constriction, like um, how a boa constrictor. I think about a big snake wrapping you up, right, and squeezing you. When I feel like when I think of a limitation, I think of something that you really, literally cannot do. Like it is a extreme weakness for you. I I'm just gonna say something that we all, a limitation for all of us. You can't drink poison. I can't drink poison. I will die. You can't drink poison. You will die. Okay? So limitation is something that literally sometimes it's a very small thing. It could be a very small thing. It doesn't have to be very big. I have a limitation. I do not walk in heels. I did it for a while because that's what was expected of me, um, by public opinion. Um, and it's hard because in this day and age, it is very hard for women because I have that argument. We all women have that argument with society. That one thing that we will not do, or those multiple, I have a lot of things that I will not do that society says women should do. Wearing makeup. Um, I have mascara on, which I really don't even do that a lot. I really just wear mascara for this video. Not even for the prayer pod. Well, I think today I put on mascara before I did the prayer pod video. But not even for this. Like, not really not for that. Only for this. This is why I wear mascara, to get on here or to go to church. I wear mascara to church. So, um, wearing makeup, I just don't believe that women have to wear makeup, but society does. I don't believe that women have to wear um, heels, but society does. There's a lot of things there. I'm just so anti-society. Like, it's crazy. I don't believe in bedtimes. I don't even. I really would rather homeschool my children. The only reason why my son is going to be going to school for first grade is because he wants to go to school. Otherwise, if he said, I want to be home with you, then that's what we would do. Um, I, and I know nobody's going to be like, oh, well, if you want to homeschool him, you homeschool him. It's your choice. Nobody's going to say that because society does not like homeschool. Um, I I definitely um if it weren't for that, like I know eventually I'm gonna have to get the bedtime thing together, but I don't believe in bedtime. I believe that when babies are first born, one thing that the first thing is on a list of things, but when babies are first born, they know exactly what their bodies need, and nobody has to tell them. Nobody has to tell them when they need to go to sleep. Nobody has to tell them when they need to eat. They run the show. They know exactly what they need. And I believe that children, although children are distracted by, all the things that are going on today, and it's good to take a break. I believe that when a child is sleepy, they should go to sleep. And yes, if you have the child on a routine, on a schedule, I'm not against people having routines and schedules. Good for you. Good for you. And I hope that you have a schedule or a routine because it's what you want and not what you think everybody else wants from you. Um, but to have a routine and a schedule, yeah, your children eventually adapt to it and they start going to sleep at this time. But my kids have their own schedule. They still take a nap at the same time every day. They still go to sleep at the same time every day. I just don't believe it's the time that you say I should. And that's where I'm at. It don't have to be the time you say. I have heard so many people. It's mainly people who um, hate their parents or don't have any children who are always trying to push social norms on parents, on today's parents, actual parents. Like, um, I don't remember like bedtimes and stuff. Um, I don't remember being forced to go to bed at a certain time. I think it was just kind of normal that we went to bed at a certain time. Um, but I don't. I also don't remember it mattering. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think it matters. I don't think there's um, anybody in this world who can say that their success or failure in life is that they can attribute their I don't even know if that's the right word, their success or failure in life to going to bed at the same time every night as a child. I just don't believe it. Or at a specific time. Okay, so I got there. I got there. I don't know how I got there, but I did. So restrictions, limitations. Oh, I was saying that that for me a limitation is like society, like the things that a lot of the things that society wants from me as a woman or as a mother. I or I I can't do it. I can't do it because they go beyond my personal limitations. Um, Expectation, according to Siri, a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. A belief that someone will or should achieve something. So just like we talked about, like communication not being communication, unless of course it is achieved, it is his, it's a success, it's successful. We talked about limitation being something that restricts or weakens you. Um, so expectation is, I forgot what I even just read, and I read it a million times. So let me just stop my brain for a minute. Expectation is so expectation is basically um, I want you to do something, whether it is now or in the future. I want you to do something. I want this to happen. I want to see it. I want to see it. Not everybody else, but I want. Um, it is very good to communicate those things, because if you walk around having all these expectations of people, Sorry, I mean, just I don't know, you guys. Whatever, they're dreadlocks. You know how it goes. Um, I have a habit of if I pick at anything, I have to. I my nails have to be totally utterly clean. It doesn't matter if anything came off on my finger. It doesn't matter. So, but I know some people think that was gross. Some people just kind of went over their head. Some people were like, that was nasty. Who are we? So, um, a lot of people. There are a lot of people in this world who go around with they have these expectations of other people and situations and events, but they never communicate. They might passively say something, but they never effectively communicate. And when these things that they expect to happen don't happen, everybody all of a sudden is on their bad side. They're mad at the world. And I just like, it's like some people just need to be slapped. But who am I? Who am I to just walk around slapping people? Um, anyway, so the reason, let me tell you before my computer dies, the reason why we should communicate our limitations and expectations. Oh, I already said why. Okay, this is the process of um, communicating your limitations and expectations. Um, just to add on, because I was saying why you should communicate your limitations and expectations, not only to alleviate stress, but so that you are not that person who is always mad at the world because things don't go your way. You want to make sure that you communicate these things and you have an open mind that just because it's your limitation and your expectation, not everybody's going to agree and not everybody's going to be able to deliver for you. So, in order to properly communicate your limitations and expectations, first of all, write them down so that you have something to always go back at and look and remember, oh, yeah, this is a limitation for me. This is an expectation. This is what I expect out of a job. This is what I expect out of my business. This is what I expect um, of my parents, of my children. And a lot of people are real old school and they don't think that children of any age should have an expectation of their um, parents or in laws or grandparents or whatever. But I mean, if it's not too much to ask, your expectation of your parents and grandparents and in laws should just be what they already promised you, what they already said they were going to do for you. Because as an adult, our parents and grandparents and in laws say a lot of things, especially when we have kids. They say a lot of things in regard to you being a good parent for their grandchildren. They want this and this and this and this, and they're willing to offer this, this and this and this. You just hold them to that. And for me, my issue right now is just I just want to say thank you for what you have done for us so far, but I do not need help parenting. Thank you for all the material possessions you have offered and delivered, but I do not need your opinion as a parent. Thank you. Um, or, I mean, for some, I could say just be a better example of a Christian because you say that you're a Christian. Um, own up to your mistakes. Own up to where you did your grandchildren wrong. That's another thing I would say to that specific group of people. Um, but list your expectations and your limitations, no matter what relationship it is, no matter what it is. Like I said, a job. List out what you want before you get into that situation, and that will help you form your boundaries. And setting your standards will also help. I probably should have done boundaries as number 4 and limitations and expectations as number 3. But setting your standards will help you with the limitations and expectations, because um, that's standard. A standard basically is, um, it's an expectation of, it's like a quality of life. So um, you've listed them. Now you have to vocalize them. Don't just write it, because not everybody reads, right? Not everybody reads. Um, Vocalize, and don't sugarcoat it, because I'm saying this is something that should be done at the beginning, as soon as you possibly can. A lot of us watching this and listening have missed our opportunity in some situations, but I'm not saying that it's too late. You can go to them and say, hey, forgive me for not telling you this sooner, but it really bothers me when you do this. Um, but I mean, don't flat out say it bothers me. But, just let them know that, I I am limited by this, and when you do this, blah blah blah, or I expect this and that, and I wish I would have told you sooner, but can you please make sure that you do this? Um, can you please make sure that you don't do this? And um, I won't be able to do A, B, and C because, and these are my limitations. So list them and then vocalize them, and try just to be as respectful as you possibly can. I have gone overtime. I mean, I really could do an hour if I wanted to, but I'm trying to keep it as close to 30 minutes as I can. But this is a big one. And so if you feel that I did not elaborate enough on communication, limitation, or expectation, please let me know in the comments. Remember to like, so that I know you're here, and subscribe so I know you're coming back. And then, last but definitely not least, go ahead and subscribe. Like I said, these are the, excuse me, this is the playlist for the Voice Behind the Voice podcast, and this is a video that YouTube just thinks is best for you. All right, so take it easy. Bye.